Morning, how we doing? It is Sunday the 19th of April. God, it seems like ages since I've done one of these, but I've just been doing stuff. Kind of wanted to do a quick update video, but also tell you a few things that are on my radar that I'm playing with right now and that I'm excited for May. The first one is with dtube. They're integrating, or have integrated already, Skynet integration. Now, I know it sounds scary, because in Terminator, I think all of the Terminators, but I think we heard about it more in Terminator 2. Skynet was the big supercomputer that became self-aware, had AI system, and then got infiltrated by something or other, and ended up turning the robots against the humans. And so don't be scared about it like that. It is a decentralized platform by the SIA blockchain. They've just decided to call their platform for storage of video Skynet. Scarily, I guess, in some ways. But the best thing about Skynet is that the prices for hosting per gig per month are incredibly low. So it's a bit of a power play against platforms like Amazon S3 and similar priced platforms that are actually more expensive. They're centralized in terms of being Amazon, but obviously Amazon with their cloud, they've got hundreds of thousands of spinnable up instances. But it's incredibly cheaper, much cheaper than Amazon if you were going to go host on S3. So definitely something to look at for the rest of 2020 and to 2021. Lots more people are probably going to start taking control of their brands more, moving away from platforms like YouTube, especially now that most of the advertisers on YouTube during the coronavirus, 80% of the YouTubers around the 200,000 to 500,000 follower mark seem to be getting hit massively because all the advertisers have pulled their ads. So they're seeing a massive decrease in the amount of AdSense they're earning every month. So they're relying on things like Patreon now to actually make an income from putting video on the web. So lots of changes. I think it's important to start diversifying your digital portfolio now. Obviously you want to minimize those bills, so you probably want to move away from something like YouTube. Instead of putting stuff on YouTube and not getting much for it, maybe taking control of your brand using a blockchain and a front end that you control. Also, I want to talk about DTC. So Skynet's really awesome. That's already integrated into it. I also want to give a high five and props to the dtube team, because they're smart to not try and reinvent the wheel. They're just looking at great technology that's out there. SIA is a well-matured project. They're doing some cool things. They've rapidly put that together. I mean, I know SIA's been around for probably about 3 years, and it probably took 2 or 3 years to build this Skynet, but it looks pretty fucking solid right now from where I'm looking at. The other thing I want to talk about is DTC. The mainnet is launching on the 10th of May, so that's about 2-3 weeks from now. They put out a blog post on the dtube account on steemit.com or hive.blog. You can see it on both of those. Have a look on that list. You might be on that list. I'm getting some DTC from that, so I'm pretty happy about that. That one is an interesting one because it's kind of a long play. So if you're looking to do decentralized video, you're interested in Skynet, you're interested in taking control of your own brand, maybe building your own front end and own community, I see a hybrid combination of using decentralized platforms for storage and also decentralized blockchains like Steem or like Hive to be able to build your own front end out. And there's actually open source condenser front end code you can get on GitHub if you are a developer and you want to play around with that stuff. But DTC is finally going to go to mainnet. We're on testnet right now. I actually run a Avalon Leader testnet server, have done for probably about 8 months, 9 months now, and I pay a certain amount of dollars per month for the hosting of that little cloud instance that runs the code for the witness. That'll be transferring over to the mainnet, and I don't know what that's going to involve. Don't know if it's going to be more labor intensive on CPU or bandwidth, but we'll find out in the next 3 weeks. Last 2 things I want to talk about today is having longer term isolation plans. Now we've been in isolation for about 5-6 weeks. I don't know, time's flying by. I'm realizing, well, I kind of knew, but it's been validated recently, especially when you're seeing news coming out of BBC and main channels saying that there's probably going to be a potential for 70-year-olds and over to maybe be in some kind of isolation till next August 2021. So they're seeing this as a long-term play for the next like year or so, which opens up opportunities that I never really considered before, and up until 2 or 3 weeks ago weren't on my radar at all. So I'm kind of calling it the boomer tech support, because I realize that a lot of the elderly who have a lot of money either invested in their own companies, or just managed to accrue a lot of wealth over the last 40-50 years, or pension money, whatever, those people tend to go out and get educated at education centers for computer training, the relearning new skills, new services, taking an old hobby they wanted to do or do on a daily basis and turn it into a little bit of a business. They're starting to see the Squarespace ads for building their own websites and having to dabble with that, and then hitting a brick wall when they need to do like e-commerce and video hosting and streaming and things like that. I'm seeing an uptick of support for that kind of generation, which I'm calling boomer tech support. And I didn't realize it, but a lot of these instructors who are also like in their sort of 50s and 60s normally go out and train the elderly in a physical location, and they can't do that at the moment because of coronavirus. And if that's going to extend for another year, then a lot of these instructors are already jumping at the opportunity to take their physical, like go in and teach 20 or so people in a class, to virtual. And so there's a whole bunch of challenges that they're finding in terms of what software do I use, where do I host this, how do I optimize it, how do I make it fast loading, how do I make it easy for the people who I normally physically train one-to-one to be able to open this up from an email, to understand where it's coming from, and to get that regularly, because obviously they need to make sure that their income from doing that role is secure. So there's lots of people out there looking for people like you and me to help them with that stuff. And I've seen, like I said, I've seen a massive uptake in training for making little animations, making little social media videos, and OBS. And I'm going to be expanding my OBS course by about 3 to 4x over the next 3 months, because I'm getting lots of students asking me about how do I make more complex layouts, how do I use hardware, what's the best lights, what is this Elgato Stream Deck. So I'm getting all these questions, so I need to record little sections and videos for them, and I'll be adding that to my course, which I'm aiming for, and I think it's important to have like goals to set in 2020. I'm aiming for at least 24 hours of content all around OBS and streaming, and then maybe splinter all that stuff off. So I hope everybody else is well out there and you're keeping busy. I've literally been in a really strange headspace from like waking up and it being light and trying to get as many hours in as possible, to days where it's just like can't function because I lost track of time. I know it's like a Tuesday, but then I look up at the clock and it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like, what happened to the day? So time has no meaning at the moment. So I have to have things to focus on which allow me to actually, keep sane, I guess, have some kind of sanity on a daily basis. It's kind of weird. I never considered it before, but those little trips out to the coffee shop, or go in and get some food, or get in on a bus, or getting on a train, or even planes, all of those little intermediary journeys actually took a lot of stress away from being too focused on where you're at. And I think a lot of people are probably going through that at the moment. So anything I can focus on is helping. Yeah, that's it. I just wanted to get a little update out. Very busy at the moment. I've got about 11 courses. I don't know how it ended up being 11 courses, but I've got like a digital crypto native utility belt course. I've got a little show I want to start about my Instapot called Steam Under Pressure. I've got another one called Need to Know, which is about like the bread making and all of that stuff. And then I've got one about video conferencing, one about social blockchain as a video blogger, iPad Pro remote work kit, remote workers web tools while in isolation, crypto tools and platforms for blogging, digital assets and future personal resilience. Create landing pages with Card and sell with Gumroad. Like, I've just got so many. I've looked at what people are talking about out there, and I've looked at the SEO that is very active right now on Google, what people are looking for, and I'm correlating courses to that stuff. So I'm stacked, really. I just need to take as many 2-hour sprints in a day that I can do, and not be too hard on myself. If I only get 1-2 hour sprint done in a day, I've just got to accept it rather than beat myself up that I should be getting 12 hours out of a day. I think that's not the best way to work as a virtual worker. I think you should just like check in with your flow state, see where you are mentally. Like, do I have the energy and the focus and the mood for this? And do those few hours instead of like trying to force it. All right, I will catch up with you soon with another update once I've got a couple of these courses out, so I can share them with you, so I can take your feedback as well. All right, you stay safe out there, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Drifting slowly into an empty space where I can go. I'm just a roadblock for you, it seems. It's never enough, but I care so deeply. Holding